Transcendental Transformation, the place where spirituality and transformation unite. Host Miss Raina imparts truth so that you can break through your limiting beliefs and evolve into a deeper consciousness. As you go about your day, remember, before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And now, let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Transcendental Transformation. I'm your host, Miss Raina, and today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. As always, we are coming live from the Sirius Star System studios right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I hope all is well with everybody. So, guess what, guys? We got our newsletter back. That's right, we did. We have our newsletter, and I know that a lot of people have been signing up for that, and we haven't been sending it out because there was some issues with the program that we're using, but we got it fixed. It's back. I'm excited because, you guys deserve more content, and I want to make sure that I keep connected with you and everything. So we're going to try to send out the emails on Thursdays. Don't know yet if that's going to be a good day for us, but we're going to try. So just make sure you watch your email for that, and all good stuff. So some more exciting good news is we are now on Pandora. Yes, we are. I am so excited because we're on iheart, Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, Twitch. We are on so many platforms, and soon to be Amazon Podcast. They haven't launched that program yet, but I'm excited because that's going to be some great stuff. But yes, we are on Pandora. It is such a great platform to be on, so please make sure you find us, subscribe to us on any of those social medias and platforms, and we'll just keep coming. So all right, guys, there is a lot to go over, and today we're going to talk about lightworkers, clairvoyance, and empaths, and kind of the sixth sense. And I really want to talk about the things that lightworkers, clairvoyants, and empaths go through. I want to debunk some stuff, and I want to make sure that we kind of come to a good understanding about things, because the reason why I feel that we should do this show is because I've been running across a lot of lightworkers, a lot of empaths, a lot of people with sixth senses, and I feel like they're falling apart. Like, everyone that I know seems to be getting caught up in emotions and their anger and just the sadness of the world and all this chaos. And yes, I know that it is a tough time right now. I know that this past year has been challenging because we are so used to this idea of freedom, but a lot of us have been locked in our homes and our work and everything else. And even myself, it's gotten to me a little bit the last couple weeks, but I had to revamp and kind of just make sure it didn't get to me because it's psychological. But not just because of what's been going on this whole year, but a lot of people have been struggling. And I've noticed that there's a lot of light workers that seem to be crashing, a lot of empaths are crashing, and a lot of people with sixth senses or clairvoyance or any of the clairs, they come up to me and they're just like, you know what, I just feel so overwhelmed. I feel so there's so much of a struggle right now, and there's just so much emotion, there's so much sadness, there's so much stuff going on that I just don't know what to do anymore. I feel lost. And tonight I want to make sure that I help everyone understand the reasons why there are light workers, and the reasons why if you are a light worker or an empath or you have a sixth sense, why you've come to that incarnation with those gifts, and why they're here, why the light workers and empaths are here. And I want to clarify one thing, that it is easy for a lot of us, especially when we're looking for something inside, to get attached to the ideas of these labels of, oh, I'm a light worker, I'm an empath, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I'm a healer, or whatever the thing is, because we're looking for something special inside of us. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that being a light worker, being an empath, being a healer, being a psychic doesn't make us any more special than anybody else. And if we're the souls that we believe that we are, then we understand this. We don't use the title of a light worker as prestige. We don't use the title of empath or psychic or sixth sense or whatever you want to call healer as prestigious, because we resolve our egos. And one of the things that I want to make sure that during this show, that we don't let ourselves get attached to any ideas that we're talking about today. Just kind of soak it in. I don't want people saying, oh, well, that's me and that's me and that's me, and just trying to identify with everybody because you're trying to identify with something in yourself. Because to truth be told, being a light worker is tough. Being an empath is tough. Being having one of the clairs, clairvoyance, clairsentient, clairaudience, whatever, it is tough. It is not an easy life. And there's a lot of times there's this idea, this magical idea, or this mysticism about being a light worker or a healer, and a lot of people really attach to those ideas because they think it brings them some type of prestige. But to be honest with you, it's a really tough job, and it's a lifelong commitment. And a lot of people don't know this. This is my job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and I don't get a break. Even when I'm sick, even with my heart, when I got hit by a car or a truck or whatever, when I'm in the hospital, people come up to me and talk to me regardless of the situation. They come up to me and they talk to me about their challenges and their problems in their life, their emotions and their struggles. And even if they don't really feel that, even if they're religious or they don't really believe in it, they still are prone to come up to me. They still feel an attraction to come up to me and do all this stuff. So it's not something that is a title that we dance around with and say, hey, I'm a light worker, great, let's make money and do all these things. If you're doing that, then I think we really need to look at and reevaluate who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it, because this is a really tough lifelong commitment that really does not give a break for anybody. So with that being said, I really want to we're going to try to talk about light workers, empaths, and the clairs all in 20 minutes. So I don't know how well this is going to go. I know Caleb's timing me over there, but I really want to talk about, the first 20 minutes, I'd really like to talk about light workers, who they are, what they're about, because a lot of times people think that anybody that wants to heal, anybody that is spiritual is a light worker, and that's just not true. So a lot of times light workers and anybody, and I guess that's the issue that we're facing a lot of times nowadays, because the market and everybody calls themselves a light worker, everybody calls themselves a healer, and that's not knocking anybody, but at the same time we have to be realistic with this stuff, because this is something that is taken very seriously. And these specific groups of souls are people who incarnate, and what they do is they incarnate to help transform frequency of people, of the earth, of emotion, of energy, of the planet, of the universe. These people are specific groups of people that are, and we're going to get into a little bit, but these people are specific to that. And they're not going out and trying to, and I try to make a living of it a little bit too, but there's a lot that I sacrifice. There's a lot that I don't do. And I know that a long time ago I tried to get a bunch of coaches and business coaches, and they all wanted me to do all this marketing and do all this stuff, and it just went against who I was as a person, because I know that my main job is, yes, I have to pay the bills, yes, I have to do certain things, but my main job is not to be a billionaire and just market everybody so that they think that, you know, that it's about me, and it's not. It's about transforming the frequency of the people, the earth, and whatever energy that needs to be transformed. A lot of light workers, if you guys have been listening to my show for a long time, a lot of light workers, there's a series that I did, and we're going to redo that series with a lot of updated information, or a lot of deeper information, called The Age of All Souls. And it's a 3-part series that talks about the evolution of a soul, and how everybody has to go through certain, what we call domes. And each dome houses a specific type of evolution, a specific type type of period where you're at. And so when you go to that show, you'll understand what I'm saying. For those of you who have listened to this, I'm sure you'll understand. But if you don't understand, that's okay. Go to those shows later. But for a light worker to be a light worker, you have to be a certain point in our evolution. You have to be an elder adult or above. And again, you'll understand that if you listen to the show. So you can be an elder adult, you can be an elder, you can be a young old soul, you can be an elder old, or you can be an ancient. That's it. Those are the type of people, those are the type of souls that incarnate and as a light worker. And the reason why is because you have to have a certain understanding of what being a light worker is. You have to have a certain emotional depth. So not everybody who claims to be a light worker is. And I'm sorry if that kind of seems like a Debbie Downer, but as we know in this show, we talk about truth. And I want people who are light workers to really understand the seriousness of it, because it sounds great, like I said, that we're calling ourselves light workers, but if we don't understand on an emotional level, if we don't understand where we are through our own evolutionary period, then how can we heal others? Because isn't that what being a light worker is all about? Is about healing, right? We're transforming frequency, whether it be a person, whether it be an animal, whether it be the earth or society, whatever it is, the universe. And so we have to understand where we're at in our evolution. Adult souls and below cannot be light workers, and these are often those that are claiming to be light workers, that are going around trying to make money, that are just trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and just really trying to not really heal, and they don't have an understanding other than business of what being a light worker is. And you can tell, because a true light worker has a certain understanding, and we're going to get into it a little bit, but they're at a specific point in their evolution, and they have a deep understanding of healing. It's an internal knowledge, and a lot of times people don't understand that a lot of light workers, true light workers, will have this instinctual knowledge of how to heal already. It's not something that you actually learn. Sure, you can be retaught Reiki, you can be retaught touch therapy, sound therapy, whatever type of vibrational healing you're working with. But instinctively, you have this internal knowledge of healing without being told what to do. And how you heal in your life, and how you heal with your clients, or how you heal with the people you're working on and around, shows whether you're a light worker or not, because they're not limited to what they're taught. And that's a huge, huge deal, because I see a lot of people that will take Reiki and take different healing modalities, and they only heal with what they're taught because they haven't understood. They don't have that knowledge of what it is. And great, those people are preparing to be a light worker. So those people that are being attracted to that stuff, but yet not yet over the border, are preparing themselves to be a light worker. So it's almost kind of like preschool and kindergarten, where you're preparing yourself to go to school. It's the same exact thing. So they're preparing. So that's why you always have to have compassion for people who aren't really light workers, but are dabbing their feet in and really trying. And I see it all the time, because a lot of times I'll sit there and someone will make a comment when we're at healing circles or whatever, and I look at them, I say, well, they're at their beginning stages. Give them a break. They're learning, just like we all have to learn, just like we're all at our beginning stages at some point in our evolution. We have to learn how to heal. And that eventually shows. So a lot of people have to understand that, because being a light worker is really, really important. It's not, at least to me, I don't throw that title around. You know me, I don't like labels, I don't like titles, but I don't throw those titles around. I had a hard enough time being honest with people of who I am as far as being a soul sage and a spirit guide, because I don't like titles. And those type of titles, one, give you a certain image, and two, you just have to, it's almost like you put a bar in front of you, and I don't like having those bars. I don't like having those expectations of me. I'm here to do a job. I don't care about labels. Anyone who needs me, I'm always truly there for them. Sure, absolutely, when I have clients and stuff, I'm tough on them because I know what they have to go through in order to get to a certain point. And that's the other thing about a light worker, is it's not just about making people feel good. You have these low frequencies that you have to transmute to a higher vibration, and you have to help these people. So if you're sitting there and just making fluff and buff to people and making everyone feel good, but not deal with their issues, not face their challenges, and be in the support system that you need to be, well, then you're not doing what actual light worker does. Because that's what the light worker really does. It's not about waving our hands in the air like we just don't care. It's about putting our energy and helping people transmute these low frequencies into a higher vibration so that they can grow, that they can learn. And how wonderful is that, right? We're in that area. And so that's why it's so important for so many of us to understand the seriousness of it. Because people are in this low vibration. They don't understand emotion yet. There's a lot of young souls, a lot of adult and younger souls that don't understand life, and so they think that life is all about sports and greed and religion and attachment and all these ideas, because they don't have a sense of self yet. And you have to be that guide, you have to be that coach when they're ready, but you have to be able to understand your place when those people are ready. And what's nice about this is you're helping people transmute these low frequencies to open up to that knowledge so that they can acknowledge the higher consciousness of who they are and the higher consciousness of the universe. All of us go through that. Believe it or not, you have teachers for that same reason. That's one of the reasons why I've incarnated, to help people to understand this transmutation, so that we can do that, so that we can transfer, that we can transmute all this low frequency into a higher consciousness. Sure, a lot of people are going to look at it and say, that's her opinion, that's her belief system, but this is the way the universe works, and eventually all those naysayers will eventually evolve into higher conscious beings. And even you, what you think you understand may not be truthful, and you will eventually evolve into something that is higher conscious, that evolves in their thinking and their way they perceive things. And that's why I always tell people, especially light workers, don't ever stop at what you're told, because the moment you stop, the moment you think that what you were told, that's it, is the moment you don't grow, and then you set a limitation on yourself. So one of the things that, I know we only got a couple of minutes, and I don't think I'm going to get through 20 minutes of each one of these. I didn't think I would, but one of the things that light workers run into are often some challenges. And I know for you light workers, you feel like you're on the wrong planet a lot. You really do, because a lot of light workers are advanced souls or older souls and may have not originated here on Earth. There are millions and billions of planets all over this universe that have all types of people and species and all sorts of life blooming on it, just like us. And so we have incarnated here at Earth to help those lower vibrations, because everyone needs to evolve throughout the universe. And so a lot of times we have that wrong feeling, like we're on the wrong planet, and we're just like, hey, why am I on this planet? I don't feel like this is my home, right? This is not my home. And it's kind of like this battle that we have to go into. Another thing that we deal with is we have the save the world complex, and I love my air quotes, so don't make fun of me. But yeah, we have the save the world complex. We really do. We want to save everybody and save the world. But a lot of times we have stuff that we have to heal ourselves, and that's why it makes us chase that feeling of saving the world. But we all do, because we come here to help others. And it's in that dedication, it's in that lifelong commitment that you have to understand that you have to help others. And the last thing I want to talk about before we go to break is just light workers come here with dark stuff. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by dark stuff? Because Miss Raina, you tell me there's no bad or good, and there's not. What I mean by dark stuff is that light workers have to go through a lot of tough challenges in their life. They have to go through a lot of complex, painful situations because they have to experience all these psychological and emotional and mental challenges so that they can eventually become who they are and help those that are going through that haven't learned how to develop into that person. And so that's one of the things that you have to learn. If you're a light worker and you're still in your dark stuff, you have to learn to get through it, because if you haven't learned to get over all your challenges and issues from your past, then you can't move forward into healing. So all right, guys, we'll be right back from after these messages from I Am Evolution.
The human experience is changing, and consciousness is evolving into something higher than any of us could ever imagine. As we transform into more sentient beings, a new world of connected consciousness is taking place. Welcome to I Am Evolution, the movement in human development that transforms the human experience into a deeper consciousness through perspective and duality. Are you ready to be a part of the next stage in human evolution? Call I Am Evolution today to schedule your appointment at 561-318-0006. That's 561-318-0006. Or email us at iamevolution@protonmail.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. If you're just joining us, we are talking about light workers, empaths, and people who have sixth sense like the Claires. And so that dark stuff that we were just talking about, you have to get through it. You really do. You have to find a way to understand your emotions, the emotional challenges, the mental challenges, and all the perspectives. That's why we talk about perspective on this show, and understanding that emotions aren't real, and how to understand the data that comes with it, because a light worker understands that. So the challenges that a lot of times they face, and along with empathics, and we'll get to empathics later, but they're very emotional. A lot of light workers, especially when they're not understanding things, when they're not understanding the challenges that they face, they're very emotional, and because that they're they're empathic, they become more emotional because they feel and they see a little bit more than the rest of everybody else, and they also become an emotional punching bag. A lot of them, and it's the same with empaths. Is they become emotional punching bags, and they have to learn boundaries. They have to learn how to understand the separation between work or what they're doing and their own life. And that's one of the hardest things, because I know that a lot of times, even me, I run into that all the time, where no matter where I go, wherever I'm at, people always come up to me and just tell me their whole life stories and their problems and everything. And honestly, sometimes I just need a break. Sometimes I need to be like, okay. So a lot of times I'll post on social media. I'll say, hey guys, I'm going out tonight. I don't want anyone coming up to me. Or I'll politely tell people, I'll say, hey, today, I'll say hi to people. Okay, well, I'm taking a me day. It's about me today, so, I'm just going to do my own thing, and I very politely say stuff, because I need to know that when I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm feeling like I have too much, that this is going on. Intuitiveness is one of the things that is in all of these empaths, clairvoyancy, and everything. You have and being intuitive, you understand that, and it's challenging because you have to know how that your family, friends, and how you're feeling. And so when you're empathic and you're clairvoyant and or any of the senses, and you're light worker, you're constantly having this bombardment of knowing how your friends and feeling and strangers, how they're feeling, and sometimes even what they're thinking. And that your mood changes as well because of the world. I know a lot of light workers, which is one of them, and empaths are really suffering right now, because they're struggling with all the people having a hard time with what's going on in the world right now. And so their mood is greatly affected, and you have to learn how to turn that around. You have to learn how to stop that, because you have to realize that what we're going through is a transitional period. We're going through healing right now. And a lot of chaos always comes with healing. Pain and suffering is part of healing. If you're not willing to go through pain and suffering, then you're not going to be healed. That's plain and simple. And a light worker has to know that. You have to know, and I don't want to say give up on people, because you never give up on people, but you have to know when to back away from people or let people go a different path for a while when you know that they're not ready to heal. And I've done that many times with students and clients when they've seen me, and I've seen them for about 6 months to a year, and I see that they're not progressing, and then I ask, and I try to challenge them, and then when they get really nervous, and I've watched them, well, you know what, I don't think this is for me anymore, because what they're saying is, I'm really not ready to deal with that. And that's fine. You have to let them go on their path, and you have to let them know what's going on. So so one of the things that I really want to talk about is a lot of people call people light workers. We say light workers, and we think that being in the light, and it's really a false idea, and because people think that the light is divine, it's the universe, or it's God or goddess, it's whatever the supreme being is, if that's what you believe in. And a lot of times we think that what we're doing as light workers is we're transmuting and changing dark, evil, bad energy to good, positive energy. And then again, we bring up Miss Raina's no words. We know there's no good or bad, right or wrong, positive, negative, backwards, forwards, better, worse. And so there is no good or bad energy. There is no evil or good energy. There is no dark or light energy. Energy is just energy. It's vibrational. It's frequency. And so what we're really doing is we're transmuting this energy, we're changing, we're raising this. And a lot of people think that, we're going towards the light. I got to pull you out of this, anyone who's struggling, I got to pull them out of this dark, evil, bad place and bring them to a good, light, positive feeling. And that's not actually healing, because a lot of people think that light is God, light is the universe, but it's not. It's actually more biological, because if you think about how we are as a species, how anything in this world is, we always go towards the light because it is nourishing and it is safe for us, and life thrives in light, and our sun gives us life, and so we go towards it because we understand that it's going to make us grow, it's going to heal us, it's going to make us survive. So it's really the light, what we call the light, is more biological. It's not really good versus bad. It's more of a biological instinct inside of us. So the truth really is that, again, it's all about vibration. You're changing a low vibration into a higher vibration. That's what you're really doing in healing. That's what a light worker is really trying to do. And so God and the universe, or what we think is God, because our idea of God and this idea of the universe is so different than what it really is. It's not actually light. If you've actually done any type of deep meditational work or deep type of healing work, you understand that what we call God or the universe or the supreme being or whatever you want to call it is actually not light. It is actually dark and void. And a lot of people have a hard time with that, because they're like, well, no, I'm a light worker. I'm of light. God must be of light. Goddess must be of light, or whatever. It's of light, but it's not true. What we call idea of a God is consciousness. It is a thought. It's actually not actually a being. It's not a gas. It's just a conscious thought that exists in darkness and void. And that's one of the hardest things we have to understand. And we have to remember, as a light worker, as an empath, as having these psychic senses, we have to allow truthful information to come with us. We can no longer allow what we believe in Earth, what we believe as society, because we're going through a major transition right now, and it started in 2020. It's going to get way worse, and it's going to seem like everything's falling apart, because it is, until 2025, 2026. And you're going to have to let go of the things you believe in and the things you were taught in order to allow truth to come in, and because that's the only way that you're going to truly heal and truly help others. So let's go into the senses, the clairs, because I know all the people always ask me, they always come up to me and say, Miss Raina, I'm clairvoyant, I'm clairaudient, I'm clairsentient, I'm clairsent, I'm clairtangency. And I say, well, that's great. Well, how do you know? Well, because I always see things. I always know when the phone's going to ring. And I say, well, that's great. How do you use that in your life? And a lot of times people don't really answer me when it comes to that. They kind of just, they always think it's for fun stuff. They always think it's cool because they know when someone's going to call or when someone's thinking of them. But just think about what you can do in healing, how you can help raise the vibration of this world and raise the vibration of this universe if you actually use those gifts for something other than a toy. And I get it, trust me. When I was young, we used to in my early 20s and my late teens, we used to go to parties, and my friends, we'd be playing cards, and they'd throw down 6 decks of cards, and they'd say, all right, Miss Raina, I want you to pull out the 5 of clubs or the 7 of diamonds or whatever it is. And they would actually bet on it, and a lot of times I got it, but after I realized that this isn't probably the best use of my instincts, and then I had to quit. So let's go over some of these a little bit. So clairvoyance. Let's talk about clairvoyance. What is clairvoyance? Well, it means clear vision, right? This is usually what most people think of as psychic. When you go to a psychic, most of them, they say clairvoyance. It's the third eye. It's how we perceive frequency. It's how we perceive vision, how we perceive in the mind's eye what we call the inner sight. This is interdimensional, and it is the strongest. Most people, everyone has these to some level. Some are more open, some aren't. But this is the strongest in most people because it is the connection to our brain. It's the connection to who we are, and this is where we get a lot of our instinctual feelings that gets passed down. So clairsentient is like clear knowing. You feel you're knowing. It's your gut feeling. You kind of are looking around and you're like, hey, this is something's not right, something's wrong here, or maybe, this person is a really nice person, I have a really good feeling about this job or this person. That's clairsentient. You have a greater feeling. You have a greater, your energetic vibration feels more. You're able to understand that data a little bit stronger, and you're very sensitive to things. And a lot of people who are empaths are clairsentient, and we're going to get into empaths after the break and everything like that, but this is something that a lot of empaths struggle with, because clairsentient is a lot of times something that a lot of people have a hard time with because they don't know how to develop, they don't know how to read the data that's coming through. The next one is clairaudience. Clairaudience is clear hearing. I actually had to learn. I actually came with clear, strong audience because I have actually a hard time hearing. If you could always tell in my voice, the way I strain to talk, is that I was born mostly deaf in both my ears, and not a lot of my ears. I only have 2 ears, but in both my ears, and I had to have surgeries and tubes and all sorts of stuff, and so I had to develop this clear hearing. It's this extra sense of hearing where you can hear noise and frequencies and vibrations and people and beings from other dimensions, and this is interdimensional too, because it's like a broadcast in your head, and you'll hear these voices that just come and shout out. And I'm not talking about voices that are going to tell you to do horrible things or to hurt yourself. That's on a totally different level. When you hear interdimensional beings, when you hear those people that are trying to give you that information, you are hearing. It is a different tone. It's a different vibration. The last time someone ran into my head, it was very loud. It was very. It kind of was a cross between a woman and a robot's voice, and it's totally different than yours. And most of the time you're going to hear that, or you'll pick up, even clairaudience, you'll pick up people's thoughts and their thoughts and everything like that. So clairscent is smell. It's smelling odors. And if you paid attention to my social media, you know that I had a recent passing with one of my friends, and with a family friend. So what ended up happening was I was sleeping that night, and I was falling asleep, and then I fell asleep. And after I fell asleep, I started dreaming, and all of a sudden I got this huge whiff, like someone took a bottle that you squeeze that blows air or something, filled with the smell of gardenias, and they blew it right up my nose. And man, that went right up my nose. It woke me up. I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And the smell was so strong, and it was just so strong that it was just like I could smell it, like as if I just stuck my nose into a bed of gardenias. And a lot of people who have the clairscent will smell, maybe if your grandfather passed away and he used to smoke a pipe, you'll smell the scent of the pipe, because they're letting you know that you're around, or that they're around. Or you'll smell odors that really aren't there, and they're translating ideas to you. One of the last ones we're going to talk about, because I know we got a few minutes before the break, is clairtangency. And clairtangency is touching something. This is psychometry. When you touch things and you get energy off of them. You have these ideas where everything is made of energy, so everything holds energy. There's always energy residue over there. And what ends up happening is when you go to a place and you touch something, or you have something and you put an emotion on it, you put energy on it, you put some type of energetic I don't know, just some type of energy on it. What it leaves is that residue. And so when someone else picks it up, they pick it up, and all of a sudden they can have the emotion, they can have the thought, they can have the ideas, the experiences behind them. And a lot of times I used to have a hard time going into supermarkets, because people would touch stuff and I would touch things. And I know a lot of you people, especially you empaths that are like that, will touch something and all of a sudden you don't even realize it, but your mood changes and you start experiencing different traits. And I'm not saying personalities, but what I mean is, like, if someone's having a really rough day and they're emotional, you touch something and you're happy, and then like a few minutes later, or like a half hour later, all of a sudden you're emotional and you don't know why, and everything's changed. And so that clairtangency is one that a lot of empaths and light workers especially struggle with, because they don't clear their energy. And I don't want to say to people that you have to go around clearing everybody's energy and constantly wiping everything, because you'll learn as you advance, you'll learn control, you'll learn how to not absorb so much. But as of right now, that's why many of you are struggling, because a lot of you have these psychic senses, clairsentient, clairaudient, clairtangency, and you don't understand what the energy is. You're not transmuting it, you're not understanding the data, and then it's not leaving. And that's one of the things that you have to do. But all these senses are to help you deal with gathering information from the outside world beyond our physical limitation. So whatever you're experiencing, people, things, objects, experiences in yourself, anything that you're experiencing has information, because it's energetic information. And if you're able to tune into these senses, other than, hey, it's cool that my grandma called just 30 seconds before or after I thought of her, or my friend texted me right when you do that, you can understand that you can help guide people. These senses are meant for you to help guide people through life and through and help them evolve. And you have to be able to see yourself as that. It should be one of those things where we have this understanding that these senses are not made for show and tell. They're not made to make everybody seem cool, or they're not made to cool. They're meant to help not only you, but they're meant to help others as well. So use these senses to help, because I don't know how many people, and I know you've probably said it yourself, is I wish I would have listened to myself, or I wish I would have paid attention to the gut feeling I had, or you know what, there was just something not right about that job or this person or this idea, and I should have gone with my gut instinct, or I should have gone with what I felt or saw in my head. And I get it. I've done it too. I've done it too. One of the things that always sticks out in my head is one of the times we had a hurricane here in Florida, and I was laying down and I was really tired. I was spending the night at a friend's house, and I saw that I left my sunroof open, and the hurricane, it was only a category 1 or 2, I think it was, and a hurricane was coming over, and I was like, oh man, I was like, well, and I just blew it off because I was tired. I wanted to go to sleep. Well, the next morning I woke up, I walk outside, and my sunroof is open, and all night the hurricane dumped water inside my car, and I was like, yep. I was like, I should have listened, and I know many of you go through that as well. So, all right, guys, let me take a break, and we'll be right back after these messages from I Am Evolution.
The human experience is changing, and consciousness is evolving into something higher than any of us could ever imagine. As we transform into more sentient beings, a new world of connected consciousness is taking place. Welcome to I Am Evolution, the movement in human development that transforms the human experience into a deeper consciousness through perspective and duality. Are you ready to be a part of the next stage in human evolution? Call I Am Evolution today to schedule your appointment at 561-318-0006. That's 561-318-0006. Or email us at iamevolution@protonmail.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. Yes. So we are talking about Lightworkers, Empaths, and the Clairs, if you're just joining us. And, it's funny because these type of ideas, these type of senses and everything are what we're really trying to do to evolve. So I want to talk about empaths for the next thing. I know we got a lot more stuff on clear audience and clear sentience, but you know what? You guys know this information. You guys know you guys know this information, and so I want to talk about empaths because empaths really struggle with life, and empaths really struggle with what's going on in the world, and especially right now. And the first thing I want to say to empaths is it's not your job to absorb the energy of others or their issues. So I want to say that again. It's not your job to absorb the energy or the issues of others. Okay? And the reason why I really want to say that, and I know my screen is going blue for some reason because the light is adjusting, so I don't mind that, but it's not. You guys have to learn that just because you're empathic does not mean that you have to absorb all the energy, all the issues of everybody else. That is why you're in the spot that you're in a lot of times. A lot of empaths are a mess because of this very reason. They don't know. Because they're learning about emotions for the very first time. Because they're learning about who they are. Because we'll get into it in a second, but we'll go back to the evolution and the domes and everything. But because they're learning about emotions, because they're learning how to feel, everything is on top of them. So one of the big difference that I always say between light workers and empaths is you can be empathic without being a light worker, but you can't be a light worker without being empathic. So what does that mean? So that means that you can be empathic, and that doesn't mean you have to be a light worker. But you can't be a light worker without being empathic, because a light worker feels just like empathic, but they want to help. They want to heal the world. They want to understand the world. They want to heal themselves. They want to heal all their evolution as well. They want to heal what's going around. They want to heal everything. And what they want to do, and they have this idea inside that they want to transmute vibration, the low vibration, into higher vibration. Empaths feel the same way Lightworkers do, but they don't want to heal. Most empaths don't want to heal. They are so caught up in their own emotions, their own drama, and their own issues, that and being mad at the world and being sad and feeling so overwhelmed that they don't want to heal. And they don't want to do any healing work. They don't want to do this, and so that's why I say that in order for you to be a light worker, you have to be empathic. But you don't, just because you're empathic doesn't mean you are or have to be a light worker. So I want you guys to understand that. So empaths are all about feeling. They're all about this energy. They really get engrossed, and they're very highly sensitive beings because, like, again, we're learning for the first time. We're learning for the first time our emotions. We're learning our first time to feel. We're evolving past this idea of just being ourselves, of just being about ourselves, just being about money and ego and everything. But because we haven't left that yet, because we haven't left that idea yet, we haven't made it past those to wanting to heal people. So we get caught up in it. And a lot of empaths are become introverted because they're feeling all the time. They're highly sensitive. They're becoming moody. They're becoming resentful towards the world. They become big introverts. They don't want to be around people anymore. And this is something, empaths, that you have to get over. You have to learn to get over that the world isn't bad. It's not evil. It's not this big horrible place that you think it is. Yes, horrible things happen sometimes, but that's only in the perspective that you're looking at something. If you're looking at something with a limited perspective of yourself and your own emotions because you feel bad and because you don't know how to deal with your sensitivity and emotions, well, then you're going to look at the rest of the world and only see what your mind is terrible things. But you have to remember that all those terrible things are for everyone's evolution. Everyone has to evolve, so everyone has to be murdered, everyone has to be the murderer, everyone has to be killed, everyone has to be the rock star and the person on the street and everything else, the person who lives in perfect health, the person who dies early of cancer or disease. Everyone has to go through that to evolve. And this is why empaths are so hung up on emotions, because they don't understand that, because they're so introverted about their own emotions that they push back what they should be learning. And one of the reasons why they do that is because they connect to people too early. They don't know how to stop. The moment because they're so wide open, because they're trying to learn about themselves and the sensitivity and how to read people, they just connect right away to people, and they just take on whatever issues, whatever challenges, whatever energy the people around them are doing. And that's why a lot of times people have a hard time with going out to places that if you're empathic, you have a hard time going to places because you don't want to be around people. You're connecting to so many people. You have to learn boundaries. You have to learn barriers. You have to learn how to read energy of what you want and push it out, and not take it to where you're going to victimize yourself. People are going to sponge off you if they feel it, because they want to feel happier, because they don't have any control. And you're going to sponge off people because you're in that mode of just, oh, I'm just taking as well. And a lot of times, yes, it's accidental. You're not going out trying to be that, but you do that. And so you have to be able to, you have to learn to develop walls. You have to learn to develop boundaries in that sense. So lies. So one of the other things that the biggest challenge for introverts is lies and dishonesty. Empathic people are have a huge hard time. I'm sorry, I'm having a little problem with my heart right now. So if I'm stuttering, and I apologize. But empaths have a hard time with people who lie and are dishonest, because they feel that they get really quickly heartbroken. They get really quickly they get really sensitive about people who are dishonest with them, because they open up so quickly. And when people come and take advantage of who they are and take advantage of who their emotions, and then are left with just this chaos around them, they get to be a jaded view. So the purpose of of an empath is to understand emotions, is to learn to use the emotions and not get caught up in them. Don't get caught up in your emotions. Learn to use them for what they are. Learn how to read it. Learn how to read energy. You can victimize yourself all you want. You can say, "Poor me, the world sucks," but that is part of the path of the empath, is learning how to read. Remember, you're evolving from an adult soul into an elder adult, or you're evolving into an elder adult into a young old soul. And so you're learning how to read emotion for the first time. You're learning how to do all these things. And you're supposed to learn that your energy and your knowledge is meant to teach people. It's meant to teach yourself too about who you are on a deeper level. You're meant to learn how to learn about who you are in your surroundings and how to help people, because those tools down the road in your evolution will be coming later in life, or later in your evolution. They'll be useful for you, and you have to learn to develop compassion. One of the hardest things for empaths is not understanding compassion. You guys are so hard on a lot of people. Empaths, you have a great heart. Don't get me wrong. But because your emotions go up and down and they flip-flop a lot, it goes from one extreme to the other. Where people you care about, you can be the most kindest, gentlest, wonderful person. And on the other hand, when you're emotional, when you're upset, when someone's taking advantage, oh boy, it's like you can come with that knife and slice and dice, but you have to learn how to develop compassion. Everybody is going through what they need to go through on their thing. And you can't teach anybody anything different than where they're at. And that's one of the hardest things, and that's why that's why a lot of empaths are depressed. That's why they're angry. That's why they're a mess, is because they're so sensitive. So please learn about yourself. Please learn how to do this. You can no longer play the victim. We're going through a huge transition right now, and it's going to be rough on you guys, for the ones that play the victim. You have to stop victimizing yourself. You got to stop getting caught up in the drama. You got to stop, this don't understand the feelings and stuff. Well, yes, you're not going to understand it as long as you keep victimizing yourself, as long as you keep understanding that. So hold on, we got a question for a minute. How to have more compassion for yourself. Okay, Angel. Hi, Angel. How are you? How to have more compassion for yourself. Well, that depends on the person, right? But you have to have compassion by yourself by understanding yourself. You have to get to know yourself. A lot of people are brought up hard because you have expectations of yourself. So you have these learned ideas that you have to be someone, be someplace. You have to make money. You have all these expectations of who you're supposed to be, and because of that, you put yourself in this idea that you can never live up to yourself. And so you have this idea of that how can we have compassion for ourselves if we can never live up to our own self? And that's why a lot of empaths, that's why a lot of light workers and a lot of people, we have a hard time with compassion. And thank you, Angel, so much for asking that question, because a lot of people don't have compassion for yourself. You have to, it's funny, and I'm glad you actually asked this, because today I had a hard time sleeping because of what's going on with me, and so I woke up early, and for the first part of the morning I relived a part of Connecticut. When I lived in Connecticut, it was a very turbulent time for me. I was going through a lot of changes. I was going through my questioning my sexuality, all this stuff. I moved away from my home, everything. And so what ended up happening was, it was just, if everything fell apart in Connecticut, people dropped me as a friend without knowing people, and the more people dropped me, the more chaotic I became, the more angry I became, and this tornado of a cyclone just was unleashed. And it was just such a rough time for me, so very suicidal, very I didn't love myself, very lost at that moment. And I thought about that all today. And I had compassion because I realized that every place in my spot, and no matter how embarrassing it was, no matter what people thought of me, that I was still the same person inside. It was just trying to find out who I was. I had to go to that. I had to go to those dark places of people dropping me in order to become this strong person who I am today. So I looked at myself and I saw myself as that 21, 22-year-old girl. And I said, you know what? I was like, I love you. I was like, you know what, people may not have understood you, and yes, you caused a lot of chaos, and there was a lot of hard times, and I know what you went through, but you deserve love just the same, because that's what compassion really is about. It's about understanding what we're going through. So if you don't have compassion for yourself, then try to understand what you're going through. Try to understand your life from an outside perspective, from a bunch of different perspectives. It's hard to look at ourselves, but see it truthfully. See yourself as a loving being, not as a rock star healer, not as an athlete, not as a mom, not as anything, but who you are in essence. Stop trying to be what everyone expects you to be and just be you, because you know what, you are who you are. Every one of us has played the bad guy. Every one of us has hurt someone else. Every one of us has lied. No one's different from that. And so why should we continue to beat ourselves up for things that have brought us to this very moment? We shouldn't. And I really hope that answers your question, Angel, and and anyone else about that. Compassion is a really hard thing to learn, and a lot of people don't have compassion for themselves because they're out there trying to be somebody instead of being somebody in here. So, all right, guys, we got about 5 minutes. Let me. I don't even know where we're left. So I know we're an impasse. I know we're that, and So being empathic means that you have to have a deep connection with yourself. If you're a light worker, if you're empathic, if you're a healer, you have to learn to have a deep connection with yourself. You can't be about the outside world. You have to be more internal, more reflective, more perspective, more retroflective than anything. You have to have this deep connection with yourself. You have to understand who you are at your most difficult times, and at the most times that you're on fire and everyone loves you, because those are balances, those are reflections, those are perspectives. That's duality in its form, but with a neutral perspective. I'm looking at both of it. And so with this deep connection, because you become aware, you say, wow, even though this person is in their spot, I was once there too. And having that compassion, having that awareness, and saying, okay, because I've gone through this, because I've understood this on an emotional, chaotic level, now I can help this person. And that's what I was saying about Connecticut, is I looked at that today and I said, you know what, if I didn't go through that chaos, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in Connecticut that don't like me still and probably think of me in that way, and that's fine. But if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't have the understanding that I have today to help those that come and sit at this table, or that I talk to wherever I'm at. And so that deep connection, it must be emotional. It must be, and not like emotionally chaotic. I mean emotional centered. It must be emotionally sound, and for you to understand that. If you're not connected to yourself, well, empath, that's probably what you're going through all right now, is emotional chaos. You're all over the place. You're disconnected. One moment you're up, the next moment you're down. Maybe for a week you're up, the next moment you're down, and you're chaotic and drained. You alienate yourself from the world in the same sense. So I want you guys to understand that. I know I was kind of a little bit all over the place a little bit, and some of it was a little slow today. I was having some problems with my heart throughout the show today, so I apologize for some of the things that if my thought process wasn't there. But I really want you guys to understand that empaths, it's time to stop taking on things that aren't your responsibility and start understanding. Your whole goal in life is to understand your emotions, and how to read them, and how to understand the data that's coming through. Because remember, emotions aren't real, but the frequencies that come and the experience that come are, and they're meant to teach us about ourselves. And light workers, if you don't have that emotional depth, and you don't have that the same ideas, and how to heal, and have that connection of going deeper than what you're taught, then you're only going to go so far with yourself and your own healing. Okay, guys. All right, we have 2 minutes left. I'm done. Honestly, I was having a rough time this last half and everything, so I'm out of here. Hopefully next week we'll get a little bit, I'll be a little bit healthier, and we'll see how it goes. But, all right, guys, follow us on our Facebook at facebook.com/Transcendental Transformation. YouTube is Transcendental Transformation Radio Show. Visit our website at soulandspiritguide.com and sign up for our newsletter and receive VIP access to hidden shows and to when we ever have guests. Sometimes they offer stuff. And always remember to believe in yourself, and it's not our abilities or our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you and have a wonderful day.